Oh boy, it's time for another one of our free Friday community classes where we go into some aspect, some angle of plant spirit work as I practice it and teach it. A lot of green sorcery, a lot of green art, a little bit of spiritual herbalism, a lot of plant magic. So this week, based on a community question from July 2022's Q&A call, we are going to be talking about 5 ways to get started practicing green sorcery right now. Right now, today, right this minute, during this video. Let's do it. One of the issues that we fall victim to is that we think a lot about the work and don't do very much. But this work is more about what is done than what is thought. The ritual action, the showing up is incredibly important, and that's really what gets the ball rolling, what opens the ways, what invokes the spirits, and what changes us within through the power of magic and medicine. So I want to give you 5 ways you can put the seed on the soil right now, get started, make things happen, make it simple. And the cool thing about this is that if you were to put these 5 things into practice, you'll find that they start unfolding and expanding in ways that are personal and unique to you, although will generally resonate with other people doing the work, because that's how it goes, and lead you deeper and deeper into the practice. So what starts as 5 suggestions becomes a daily practice, which becomes a perspective change, which becomes living in a world filled with magic, which becomes having plant spirit allies and cool deities you're working with, and lots of harmonious things you're adding to the world, your world and the world of everybody else. So I think this is worth our time, and I think you'll find it cool. So let's get started. Number 1, find or create sacred space. This is very, very important. If we don't have a place where we can relax, unwind, let go, feel secure, feel like we can be vulnerable, it's really hard to get deeper into this stuff. So I suggest starting out by carving out a little room in your life where you can get things done. For some folks, that might be a corner in your backyard if that feels private and secure for you, or if privacy and security aren't things that bug you, maybe less. You might need to create a little space inside of your house, a little altar or shrine or a meditation corner, or just a place where you can go to have 10 minutes by yourself and then 10 minutes by yourself with the spirits to do what you need to do. When folks don't feel like they have a good space, it's oftentimes a pretty much instant shutdown of getting the work done. People will complain about not having enough time, and they'll complain about not having somewhere to do it. The time thing, you have to figure out on your own. If it's important to you, you'll make time. The space thing, this I can give you some suggestions on. So if you've got a backyard, use it. If you've got an indoor space, use it. If not, find an area in a public park that's safe for you that you can go to. Maybe there are some sweet spots during the day when there's not very many people, or some creative workarounds that you can make that allow you to go be in direct connection with nature, with the green world, but also feel secure and safe and confident in your practice. Very, very important. The real crux of this particular point is do whatever you need to do to create the space that you deserve, okay? Whether that's finding space that already exists that you have access to and that's good for you, or making it happen if it doesn't exist. Point 2, walk through the world with an animistic perspective. Now, this feels very heady, right? It feels like I'm gonna walk through the world thinking about how all beings are persons, that every plant is a person, every animal is a person, that the thunderstorm has a spirit and the sun has a spirit and the moon has a spirit. But animistic perspective really kicks in when we can feel it, when we can experience the personhood of otherness, not just tell ourselves that that exists. So the difference is standing in front of a big oak tree, for example, and thinking, this oak tree is a person. Somebody told me that this oak tree is a person. They're alive, they're conscious, they're aware that I'm standing here right now, They're living their own life, they're doing their own thing, and right now we're in some kind of relationship as I stand next to them, versus standing next to an oak tree and feeling as though you are in the presence of a person, as though you are in the presence of a being that is 50 feet tall and moves so much slower than you do and communicates in a completely different way to you. That's animistic perspective. So sometimes we have to fake it till we make it, till we can get those switches to flip on. Totally fine. Do what you need to do. I tell people a lot, you know that feeling when somebody comes into the room behind you, maybe you hear them come in, maybe you don't, but you can just sort of feel that someone else is in your space. That's kind of the vibe that we want to cultivate when we're in the presence of other non-human persons. And I like to start with animals because they're the easiest to feel presence from, and then move to trees because they hold a big presence, and then move to plants. And then from there, you can start moving into experiencing the personhood of non-corporeal persons, persons without physical form, right? So animistic perspective, number 2, so important. Number 3, engage intentionally in sacred reciprocity. You have to do it on purpose, right? The entire universe is based and made out of the fabric of relationship. Everything that exists as a reaction to relationship. So, with sacred reciprocity, we are choosing to engage intentionally and directly. What does that mean? It means first, honoring and acknowledging, seeing the many gifts that we're given, the ways that the humans around us take care of us, that the animals that we have in our lives offer us companionship, the ways that the plant spirits all take such good care of us, the way that sun and moon take care of us, and land and our ancestors and all of that. Getting into kind of counting your blessing space, right? Just being aware of how much actually comes your way. How much is really directed at nourishing your being. Like that's the first step, right? Which is really awesome in and of itself. And then by entering into sacred reciprocity, it means that we respond to it. So instead of just being like, wow, this is cool, I'm going to keep soaking it up, we start thinking, well, what can I do in return? How can I give back to my ancestors who are always watching and blessing me? How can I show gratitude to the plant spirits who feed me and breathe me and nourish me and protect me and clothe me and house me and inspire me? So for a lot of us, that takes the form of offerings, making offerings, whether they're physical, energetic, or other, because that is a way for us to take what is within, take what is valuable from ourselves or our lives, and reinvest that into our benefactors, who then receive it and then reinvest it into us, and then we reinvest it into them. And this is a cycle, unending, of reciprocity. And then we get into this flow where real magic starts to happen because we're participating in how the universe works, right? We're recreating the cosmos in a way with every single offering made, every single sacrifice made. So a little beyond the scope of this class, but don't overthink it. You know, if you take care of a garden, you can easily go out and smolder some dried herbs from last year's harvest, or pour a libation of water or mead or something, or, you know, break off some of the bread that you bake and leave that for the plant spirits or the different spirits you work with. Give back. Follow your intuition. Give gifts that mean something to you, that are actually meaningful, and that symbolize how you feel. You know, this is a big part of offering work for me, as I think about, how does this relationship make me feel? How did the gifts that I receive from this one spirit or all of the plants or whatever, how does that make me feel? What does it bring up in me? And what could I create as an offering that really symbolizes that? What attunes to that? So step 3, engage in sacred reciprocity intentionally. 4, attune to the rhythms of nature and participate in them. Be aware of what the world around you is saying. Where is the moon? Is the moon full Are the plant spirits invested in our side of the hedge? Is the moon dark? Are the plant spirits resting and down in their roots and invested in their side of the hedge? What season is it? Is it autumn, a time of release and letting go and moving into stillness? Or is it spring, a time of growth and activity, planning, plotting, scheming, getting ready to make things happen as we roll into summer? What is the world doing in its cycles, and how can you participate intentionally in them? Sometimes the easiest thing to do is to think in terms of what you're doing that goes against the stream, right? So if it's the dead of winter, the season of rest, quiet, stillness, allowing the body to rejuvenate, rebuild, and repair, and you are out trying to go 900 miles an hour, doing everything all at once, asking a ton from your body, that's an invitation to explore, how am I living in a way that's not very aligned to what the world is doing? Now, it doesn't mean that winter is an excuse to do nothing. You can still go to the gym every day. You can still bike to work, go on your jog, go out and do yard work, shovel snow, fix things around the house. But we're not at full bore, right? These are maintenance things. These are strengthening and rejuvenative things. And we maybe change our angle a little bit during the winter. Whereas in summer, you've got 12 to 15 hours of daylight a day. You can go out and get everything done and hit it hard and burn the candle at both ends, because that's what we do during the summer, right? So look at the tides, look at the rhythms, the subtle ones and the really loud ones, and see how you can participate in them. See how you can remember that you are just as part of nature as bear, squirrel, sun, river, mountain, snowstorm, and that the more we do the right thing at the right time, the more harmony, success, luck we experience, right? So we're not trying to swim upstream. We're not spending 50% of our energy just trying to do the thing at the wrong time. So right thing, wrong time, step 4. Right thing, right time, step 4. Last point, number 5. Open the ways through simple meditation, rituals, etc. Do something. Bring a meditation practice into your work. Bring a lighting of a candle and a smoldering of botanical incense as an offering to the spirits that you work with every day or consistently. Learn rituals that you can do daily or weekly or by the lunar cycles. Do something. Get out of your head and start using your vital force, your energy in service of the work, the same way that your allies use their vital force and their virtues in service of your wellness. Okay, so this is where we're trying to meet our allies halfway. And this is a meeting that opens the ways, right? So by the allies reaching through to us and us reaching to the allies, it ends up opening a path between us. It parts the hedge that separates our worlds and allows things to flow more effortlessly, allows us to nourish that kinship, to deepen that bond, and to hear more clearly from the spirits that we work with. Plant spirits, deities, ancestors, spirits of place, doesn't matter. You can apply this across the board. Now, if you don't have anybody specific you're working with right now, work with the plant spirits all. Just start with the plants, right? Start honoring the plants. Find time to sit 5-10 minutes a day, light a candle as an offering to the plant spirits, to all the plant spirits who take care of us, and sit and just share your breath, right? Or do a guided meditation, or read something, but do something ritual, do something active, and you will find that A, you get out of your head and things start happening, right? And B, that when we invest this real energy, not just thinking energy, but real energy, it is replied to, right? There's a response that comes. There is something to be said about just sitting and thinking about things, that kind of mental energy, figuring stuff out, planning, contemplating. But if that's all we do, the response will be very, very quiet, and sometimes there's no response at all because we're just in our head. The spirits are not omniscient. I don't even think the deities and the gods of our traditions are omniscient. They don't know everything. They're not everywhere all the time. They're persons just like we are. They're just really big persons. So when you are up in your head, that's for you. That's your private space, right? It's very unlikely that what gets generated there reaches through the hedge. Whereas when we get out of our head and into the space around us, now we're actually interacting with otherness, right? It's the difference between thinking about shaking somebody's hand and reaching out, looking someone in the eye, and making physical contact. They're two very, very different things. I also use the analogy a lot of reading a book about swimming and jumping in a swimming pool. Two very, very different experiences, same idea. They both lead somewhere completely different though. So step 5. So 5 simple steps, put them into practice, see where they take you, allow them to take you somewhere, and your own practice of green sorcery, your own work with the plant spirits will start to evolve and deepen on its own. Now, if you want to go much, much deeper into this work with advanced classes, courses, how-tos, guided meditations, and all that, click the link down in the comments. Just come over on Patreon. Join me there where I'm sharing all my advanced stuff. All of it eventually ends up here on YouTube for free, but the comments get closed and sometimes the content is a little truncated. So come over to Patreon, enter into reciprocity with me, support the work that I do, that I can continue to give you more, and I will give you more. And until next week's free community class, take care. I'll see you soon.